Hi, everyone. Welcome back again to the Iconis podcast. I'm your host, Barry 3D for Deep Dark Delicious. Hey, and on my side is my cousin,
DJ Rod C. What's going on, people? Good day.
What's going on? So I got to give it once again. So let's go and just do a normal housekeeping. Once again, thank you to Jaybird Studios, Jaybird Digital Arts for providing the templates that you see around here, our names at the bottom and all that cool stuff and all that jazz, our logo. So thank you once again, Jay. If you want to find out about anything with Jay Digital Studio, go to the end of the video. You'll see his pop-up. He does, I said, logos, overlays, templates, anything you need, that can be printed or used digitally or used physically. So give him a shout out. Let him know you saw it on the video. Barry 3D and DJ Rod sent you his way. That's for sure.
He'll give you an extra smile for that.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I don't know about no hookup for discounts yet, but we'll just say he'll give you an extra smile.
Yeah, well, you know what? Honestly, price wise, among other digital artists, he's really good. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, really fair. Easy to talk to. So definitely willing to work with people. Come on, give him. It is time. Show him some love. Right? You can always find him on, his Instagram and all that stuff. You'll see at the end of the video. So tell him you saw him here on the Iconis podcast. Gotta shout out my other show that I'm on there, which is Touch of Gray Matter with Dave Sokolowski.
Nice.
Yeah. Thomas Patrice and Zulf Ali. These are my comedy brothers. When things open up and we hit the stage again, we'll be doing live comedy shows as our troupe going around all over. So you want to see us live doing some comedy, reach out, touch out, and every week we drop multiple videos on that channel too. So it's all subjects, no holds barred. We just have a ball and see what we all like and how we deal with the day to day. My man,
release the fury. Release the fury.
Release the fury. Right on, my man over here on this side, Mr. DJ Rod C. Where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Mr. Rod C, MRRODC. You can also find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/DJ Rod C. So those are places you can definitely find me. You can find me on Facebook too, but definitely everything is linked back there. Got my show, I got my pod show here, but I got my live show on Twitch on Wednesday nights, so you can definitely check me out. Find me, follow, let's have some fun. Yeah.
Right on. So you know the deal. Like, subscribe, share, hit the notification button. New videos drop every Tuesday morning at 8 o'clock. Show some love, send some comments. We got a Facebook page, Instagram, all that stuff, more stuff coming. So here we are today. And once again, another shout out for family members. Our cousin, Kevin, turned around and reached out to me. He said he's enjoying it. And he wants to know our opinions on the Phase 4 Marvel projects, movies, TV shows, and all that. Phase 4, four-time champion. And it's like, how come you guys haven't talked about it yet? And I'm like, oh, that's a good question. So this is an extra bonus video this week we're going to be dropping. So you saw, we put out the our wanted video just a couple of days ago. Thank you for watching, for who has. And if you haven't watched it yet, go back and watch it, with Mark Miller. Ties in, how he is with Jupiter's Legacy and all the other stuff that's popular right now, or that he's done, and Jupiter Legacy being out. So go check out our wanted video, the movie versus the comics. We're diving in real quick overview on Marvel Phase 4. So here for myself, first thing I'm looking, and we're going to go through the list real quick. So in Marvel Phase 4, there's a lot of movies, TV shows coming to all different be it theater, home, streaming, Disney Plus. The mouse owns everybody. I'll work with the mouse. And we're gonna just kind of go through the list. So right on, Rod. I've seen the commercial for. Okay, let's start off with one. Everyone's seen it. Black Widow.
Right.
You seen obviously the trailer for Black Widow, or trailers for Black Widow at this point, right? Okay. So what's your takeaway on the Black Widow standalone movie?
You know what? It's one of those ones that you really never knew if you really needed it. But I'm happy that I saw it, because now it does open up a couple of doors, because her story has always been either self-contained, that is understandable and explained, but then there's some backstories and some other questions I think, whatever, like between her and Hawkeye, that Budapest comment that always seems to resurface.
Yes.
Hopefully they'll make a little touch of it in there. But her upbringing, her training, and everything like that, definitely something that when you really think about it, it's, everybody has their backstory.
Right.
All the other Avengers, you're hearing their backstory. You're hearing, what made them, what transformed them, or, in that sense, physically and literally into the heroes that they are.
Right.
We know Black Widow. She literally is coming from sort of like a Winter Soldier in the sense. But Winter Soldier, actually, he was really on the good side already. Then he was manipulated to be on the dark side to come back to this. But Black Widow technically came from the dark side.
Yeah.
So what possessed her, or how did she get into that particular field? We all know the story, but a nice little deep backdrop into it, and then to realize where she decides to make the change. So yeah, you know what? I'm actually very happy what I'm seeing. I'm anticipating, and I'm definitely want to say, hey, I want to see some more. I want to see what's going on. Gotta let me go.
I like
that.
What
do you think?
Okay, so so
Insert evil laugh.
Yeah. I'm excited, looking forward to it for multiple reasons, right? So first of all, Black Widow standalone movie, I think she could be a great tie-in for a lot of other properties that could come out, be it if it's going to be a theatrical release or streaming service. Okay, so let's go back and look at her history. Yes, you're right. She started off as a spy, and then she turned around and go working for the Russians, and then started working for the Americans, and so she was like a double agent. So one, we need to know more about her history, right? And I think it was the Russian tea room that she was trained in back in Moscow. So how did she get recruited into that program? Two, we know there is a bunch of Black Widows, right? So how she went with the name, and you see the other Black Widow who she calls her sister, and that actress played, Chloe played Hit Girl in the Kick-Ass series. So she's coming in, right? I know we've talked about this before, and we're going to revisit the whole Black Widow for a typical reason, because I like the comic book The Champions, not the one that is out in Marvel right now, the original run of The Champions, which was Black Widow, Iceman from the X-Men, Angel from the X-Men, because both of them left the X-Men at this point after the Dark Phoenix saga, Hercules, right, and Ghost Rider. So it seemed like a mishmash team, but the team worked. And at one point, they even brought in Black Goliath. So if we look in the story-wise and the MCU universe, Black Widow's already in there. Ghost Rider has already made his failing to debut, being played by Nicolas Cage. And then on the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., it was Ramirez who came in, and it was Ghost Rider where he had the car. So Ghost Rider does exist in the Marvel universe.
Correct.
To some degree. Iceman and Angel, are now owned by Disney because Disney bought Fox. Right, so now they have the X-Men properties. So and those actors already picked and played them. So it would be nice to see not the typical Angel, but maybe Archangel come in, and pending. So right, yeah. Come on, man.
You went straight for the throat.
I'm not holding back. And then Hercules, Hercules, rumored wise, right? So his real name should have been Heracles because he's the Greek version, but they call him Hercules, and that's where it gets the mix up because Hercules is the Roman name. So Hercules is rumored to be played by Henry Cavill, because and I said this is pure rumor. This is what I heard because Henry, he's gone through his whole Superman, Man of Steel. It doesn't seem Warner Brothers is going to bring him back for that. So there's talks or very rumors out there that in Thor, the new Thor movie, Love and Thunder, we'll get to that later on. They have, other actors will touch about it more, but they're saying that Hercules, or he should have been really Heracles, but Hercules in Marvel might be played by Henry Cavill. Now I would see him playing someone else, but that's that's pure speculation, rumor. I don't know how much truth is in it. So, one, the fact that Black Widow's coming in there and find out more about her, I'm all for that. Two, the possibility of bringing in the original champions, right? Yes, because the Avengers are going to do their own thing. So I can see her kind of, and the comic book, the Champions, what I liked is that she was the leader of the team, right? Which we've talked before, and we're going to revisit that again. So all those aspects I like with Black Widow. Now you're bringing in one of my secondary villains who I like. Right, you're bringing in the Taskmaster. So Taskmaster is very similar to Deathstroke, the Terminator.
Yes.
Right? He's got that photographic reflex memory. So if he sees you do it, he knows how to do it. Now, his role usually is he went out there and, he's got a rich history, and he went out there being a villain. And then he's like, no, you know what? I can make more money and take less risk training the henchmen of the villains. So he would watch tapes of Captain America throwing a shield. Oh, he knows how to do it. He would watch Hawkeye in action and know how to do his trick shots. He would watch movies of Bruce Lee fighting and then know Jeet Kune Do. So he would remember all that, and then he would go and send his services to like AIM, and Hydra, and train all their troops. So therefore, he's making bucks without having to put out the risk and lose any teeth. So the fact that they're bringing in, so I want to see how they're going to play off this character, Taskmaster, as the antagonist in there. In the movie, they brought in Red Guardian. So Guardian is the Russian version of
Captain America.
Which opens up to the Soviet super soldiers, which is a one-shot issue. But I mean, you have their heroes over there in Russia, right? So which is Dark Star, USSR Bear, and maybe and then Vanguard, right? And he has a Thor and he has a hammer and a sickle. So it's opening up a lot nicely. It's nice to see that it's not just Marvel in New York. Mm-hmm. Now we're starting to get Marvel worldwide.
Right. And this is a perfect, like you see, even if we go back to, they slightly touched on it in Falcon and Winter Soldier,
yes,
with Isaiah Bradley, in regards to having the super soldier serum, a portion of it, or their replicative version of it.
Yes.
So that's just now showing that there's the original Cap. You got the American, second batch version.
Yes.
Now we're going to be talking. Now, once this movie comes in, now you're going to show that the USSR were creating their own version. Then we're going to come back to Hulk again, as General Thunderbolt says. We didn't tell Banner what we were making, but we were trying to make a super soldier formula. And then with the introduction of Fox's mutants, within time, they can go down and start talking about Weapon X.
Yeah.
Which one is that? Deadpool was which number? That's
Department H.
Department H, right. With
Department H, which brings in Canada, which brings in Alpha Flight.
Exactly. So
Doorways.
So exactly. This is why it's great that there's a lot of opportunities. Like, you know what? The tentacles, the arteries of Marvel is now spreading slowly and going as it should. Because when I hear people like saying, oh, you always have these movies with these trilogies and there's no interaction, they're thinking, listen, all these guys are, again, source material. All these group of people are in the same city. How could they not interact with each other? There got to be a point in time that you're going to start interacting with each other. So Marvel, again, like we've already know, they started off properly and beautifully, interweaving from the beginning of their career. It's perfect. But they understand this is a living comic book. You have to have the ability to intertwine into another comic book, into another franchise, basically, into that world.
Yeah.
And it should be able to work. That door should be a revolving door back and forth. There's
Absolutely.
no need to block that and lock that door. So yes. So with the introduction of Black Widow, like you're saying, we're now bringing this in. We're introducing Taskmaster, Red Guardian, Black Widow, and her associations with her team, but the group that created her.
Yeah,
this is perfect. This is
Absolutely.
Exactly what it should be. And again, it's no disrespect in the sense Martin Scorsese. I can't even say people's name when he was saying about Marvel, and you're like,
Martin Scorsese.
Yes, when he when he had his comment about that. But I'm like thinking, again, that's an understanding way of doing movies, individual, singular. We're branching out. We're making the concept that, listen, this is a storyline that has to interact with other people.
It's creating a full fleshed out world,
which was never thought of. That's why I'm happy that Marvel took the initiative to actually dig deep into doing that, because it needed to be done.
Yeah, absolutely. And even there, here I'm wearing the shirt, right? So hold on, I'm wearing the shirt. You see the double D's, and who's that's Daredevil, and at one point, it went from Daredevil to Daredevil and Black Widow as an ongoing series, right, within his series. So she could be the bridge to bring in Netflix. Charlie Clark's playing Daredevil.
Right.
She could be that bridgeway to bring in Daredevil, Iron Fist, Power Man, and Jessica Jones.
Yep.
Right. She is that gateway. And then, the Avengers, oh my God, I forgot what the name was called, but the all-female version of the Avengers, right? Because once again, she's a participant in that. So even though she's supposedly dead right now in the MCU universe, officially as it stands, she's got to come back, So, right. So she's coming back. Let her come back. Let her do what she's got to do. So this is why I'm very excited. I'm excited for the movie. I like the action sequences. I like the actors that are in there portraying it. And I want to see how this gets fleshed out. Hopefully they don't make Red Guardian too much of a joke, because, you see that he's put on a couple of pounds and that's the way he's playing it. But I really want him to get into like a hardcore power, because he was geared to be that person. And if you can get into something and then give me some Easter eggs, give me an Easter egg where she has to break back into old 8 KGB headquarters, and she comes across a file that has Omega Red's name on it, or Peter Rasputin's name on it, or even his brother. So we know that, hey, there is Colossus, and there's, Omega Red, and there's his brother who is the astronaut. It makes some kind of reference to that. Right? As I drop that as an Easter egg, keep the fans a little bit salivating. I'm good.
Okay. Well, see, that's a good way. And here's the beauty of it. This is what we love. This is what we love about Marvel. Marvel, again, we're talking about integrating all these different characters. So this is the first one currently as a Phase 4, as of this time frame. This is the next one that's coming down the block. It's supposed to be coming out July 9th.
Right.
It's supposed to be coming out 2021. Now, the next one is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Now, again, this trailer basically took you and railed you up in the corner and saying, I'm coming for you. Are you prepared for what I have in store for you? We are not. That's all I got to say. Because I love it that they've gone back and they're just like, you've seen people being, going back to the revision of the 10 rings of, the Mandarin. And of course, I was one of the first ones when I heard Mandarin's coming in, and then he got pushed out from Iron Man 1.
Oh no, Iron Man 3.
No, he was supposed to be in Iron Man 1.
Oh, right. Yes. He
was supposed to be in Iron Man 1, but then they realized, you know what, it would have been better to have Obadiah as the main villain.
Obadiah.
So they just push him back. But they had enough reference of the 10 rings in there. And it's beautiful. Just keep dropping the little pepper and salt and just like, we'll just throw it over there. A little 10 ring. Yonder yourself. Hold on. Here's some 10 rings for you. And just dash it in our chest all over the place. So now that you have the last part of Iron Man 3, when they say, the master wants to talk to you. What? Yeah, you've been disrespecting my name. I ain't having that. What? I can't wait, because they got to bring... oh, my gosh. That's all I got to say.
Right.
The trailer just brought it out that Shang-Chi is now going to be, taking over, or supposedly taking over, or he was prepped. Sorry.
Yes.
That's the proper. Let's do the proper terminology.
Yes.
He was properly groomed, and prepped to take over the 10 rings, to take over the clan, the Legends of the 10 Rings, to take over that. But take over that.
Right.
And he realized that it's not his way. So this is beautiful to continue from there.
Right. Right. Like, see, for me, Shang-Chi and the 10 Rings, first of all, you're going to come in and you can bring in, once again, he's going to go to Madripoor. So that was mentioned in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Yes. That's what Agent Carter was at. That's where Wolverine was hanging out when he was going by his another identity called Patch. Right. So that there crisscrosses. If you watch the Wolverine anime that was done by I think Madhouse was doing it, but the Wolverine anime, when they did the anime movies, and Wolverine was one of them, a lot of his adventure takes place over in Madripoor. If you watch the second Wolverine movie, once again, he kind of touches on that, you know, some characters. So that's a gateway for mutants. That's one. Shang-Chi is like the martial artist, but is he the martial artist? That's a doorway to open up for Iron Fist. Okay, here we go. You mentioned he's being groomed. He was being groomed by his father, who is the Mandarin, the real Mandarin, not the one that was an actor played in Iron Man 3. So that was my little disappointment, because I really want to see the real, authentic Mandarin in there. The 10 rings he has. So the Mandarin himself found, you know, what he presumed as 10 rings. So he, you know, there was a spaceship, it came crashing to Earth. He went in there, he found it, and he saw what he presumed, and that's why he used presumed, that were rings. And he put these rings on all his fingers. So he has a ring on each finger. Each ring gives a different power. One is flight, one is a shield, one is throws fire, one throws ice, and the list goes on. You can find that all online, what each ring does. And he started up his whole organization. So he's almost the Ra's al Ghul of the Marvel universe.
Good pull.
Okay, that's the best relation I can put to it, because he starts his organization to kind of take over the world a certain way. He has his son that he's grooming to take his place as, you know, the prince. He's pretty much the prince of the empire, and he kind of turns against that. Now, when I say these rings were presumed to be rings, they were really energy sources for this spaceship that crash landed on Earth. So once again, that opens up the gateway to Fin Fang Foom coming in. Right, the true Mandarin coming in, Shang-Chi, right, master of kung fu, and I know when this comic book came out, you know, it had a little bit of racist undertones, but they've changed all that, right, and because it was just the time it came out in, you know, it was nothing intentionally, it was just lack of knowledge, you know, at the time. And all right, I like that. One, give a big round of applause that the main star who's playing this is an actor from Toronto, right? Wow. And okay, they updated his look, as Shang-Chi, when you looked at him, you know, it was in the 70s. He had one of those kung fu outfits, all in red with a gold trim around it. So it was always a little bit kind of cheesy, and I think they put it off, and they never were able to kind of give a good look to him. So finally they kind of sat down there, and they gave him the Wesley Snipes makeover. Yeah, because when Wesley Snipes played Blade, if you look at what Blade was and how they drew him originally and how Blade looked when Wesley played him, the look was definitely updated, and the look sells. I mean, you have to have a cool look to sell. So when you see Shang-Chi in there, you see him in street clothes. Okay, he's got his colors. He's got the red in there and all that. Okay, it's almost like a Power Ranger. It's like, who are you? The Green Ranger. Oh, I should have known by your green shirt, green pants, and green running shoes. Got you. So Shang-Chi's got his jacket on with the red and the black on it in street clothes. Okay, and it's just a normal zip-up jacket. When you see the toy that's coming out and his official costume, it's a nice red, like dark red, burgundy-ish kind of color, trimmed in black with the black pants. I'm like, okay, this looks cutting edge. This looks sleek. So once again, he's opening it up to a lot of the martial arts and mysticism. So as I said, you got Shang-Chi, you got the true Mandarin, the real, what they call the 10 rings, the organization. This opens it up to Sons of the Dragon, which were 3 martial artists, you know, that were friends. And, you know, and the background was, one was white, one was black, one was Asian. And they all found, you know, different walks of life and in New York fighting crime. And they all found these pendants, right? So the pendant was, if you put it together, but, you know, so it's 3 pieces. One was a head of a tiger, you know, white tiger. And one was a paw each. So they each wore them, and it gave them an increased, you know, strength and speed and all that. At one point, when they disbanded, they threw that out, you know, like they do, like how Spider-Man threw his costume, saying, "I'm Spider-Man no more," and threw it in a garbage can. They kind of threw out the pendants and walked away because they had a lot of infighting going on. And that led into another person walking by, a Puerto Rican kid walking by, saw it, thought it was a cool pendant, picked it up, put it on. Oh, and he was doing martial arts at one of these dojos. And then it turned him into the first white tiger. And not like White Tiger, Power Ranger, or White Tiger. This is, you know, not Mighty Morphin White Tiger. This, you know, they're a White Dragon. Yeah, this was, yeah. And he has his own string of adventures, and that's played into something else. So that opens up a lot more into it. And because of it, there's times where he's touched base with Doctor Strange, who's already established. So, you know, Shang-Chi is opening up a whole new world.
Yeah.
Once again, you can get back to Madripoor, which has been established because of Sharon Carter in, you know, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So the other one I'm excited for. So that's 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I was even saying on this point with the 10 rings, at the quick clip that you can see in the trailer.
Yes.
I don't know if you picked it up.
Yeah.
But it shows that it's not even going to be like finger rings anymore.
Right.
It's actually be like, say, arm bracelets.
Yes, exactly.
So this is going to be very interesting and how they're going to be able to, how he's going to channel, because at least I've always thought it, when you have the 10 rings, whatever, he wants this, you know, maybe putting your fist there, but you're kind of forcing and like, you know, activating. Now it's all in your arm. So I'm wondering how they're going to manipulate that to, you know, be able to channel what particular power from which particular ring. But I can't wait to check out the movie, because it definitely is going to be able to open up our eyes on a lot of stuff that definitely I can't wait to see.
Yeah, it's reminiscent of like the 36 Chambers of Shaolin. Like, come on, man.
Yeah,
so
yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's got to be, you know, you got to, and because of Shang-Chi, you can bring in the hand, you can bring that Ninja Clan, the hand, you can crisscross with Elektra. Possibilities.
Oh, yeah. This is it, man. This is it. So I mean, you know, and time will only tell how Marvel's going to move. Yeah. But definitely, it's great that you're bringing in another culture and just giving that culture its dues and giving it a great platform to step off of. You know what I mean? Like this is going to be great. And then even like, well, yeah. Sorry, I was going to go to the next one, but go on if you want to go.
No. Let's jump to the next one, man. I agree with you. I was just going to say, I like the fact that Marvel and even DC, these comic companies are more diverse than what you see on TV at times, right? And I'm not talking the MCU universe. I'm talking just regular TV. So back in the 70s, if you wanted to see diverse characters, and that's the thing, we're talking about Marvel, so we want to see diverse characters. I want to see black, white, Asian, Russian, Canadian, Jewish, Israel. It's there in the Marvel universe. It's there. It's they those characters, main characters, sub characters, all have different ethnic backgrounds, and that's great. And if you're looking back in the 70s and 60s, and when Marvel came up in the 80s, and then you watch TV, you're like, oh, all right, man. So the diversity was already there. Stan Lee was ahead of his time, and he did that intentionally on purpose. And he used real locations like New York and Montreal and Israel and real location, not fictitious cities like Gotham and that's the difference. And I'm not knocking, I'm just saying that was what his vision was, and I'm glad to see it's playing out. So boom, that's coming out in
September. So that'll be in September. September the 3rd. September the 3rd is when that's scheduled to release. So the next one now
hit me.
Going to be talking about the Eternals. So we're going to be talking about the Eternals, and just got a quick little glimpse of it, and it really and truly, they really held that to the chest, because there's not a lot of information pulled out of that video. Like I don't get it. Like I get it, the Eternals, you got, we know we're talking about super beings with with superhuman powers and strength and that type of lore, but we don't have that much information off of that. So I know this is coming out at the end of the year, towards the end of the year. So this is an early time for them to start dropping stuff. So I know we're going to see some more videos and some more trailers of breaking that down. But the Eternals? Yeah. Basically, this is what do we call these? Is this not like the although Fantastic Four is known as the first Marvel family, ain't the Eternals more or less like the very first mutant, the very first power being? Would we call them that? What would you say, Barry? What would you say? As you catch your breath. It's okay.
Put on your seatbelts.
Oh yeah, we're going in.
Are you okay? So the Eternals, very excited. So let's go back. So the Eternals were created by Jack Kirby, right? Jack Kirby created the Eternals, and he also created the new gods for DC, the fourth world. So keep in mind, he thinks very grand. It's big. So with the Eternals coming in, the Eternals, you're right, we're the first mutant beings. So the Eternals are going to bring in the Celestials. That's guaranteed for sure. The Celestials were known as the space gods. The space gods are the ones who created pretty much the Marvel universe in terms of superpower beings. So we don't know much about the Celestials. They are huge. I'm talking giants, whatever, in armor. There's 12 of them. They are power beyond power. Don't know much about them. They come to Earth every so often to judge, to see if we've advanced enough, or and say yay or nay, if we should exist. And the Eternals are there to kind of fight that fight. So the team of Eternals, first of all, the actors and actresses playing in this movie, come on, Angelina Jolie, Salma Hayek, you got some big names coming in here, and Angelina Jolie is playing like the princess of the Eternals. Thanos is an Eternal. So so much to go. I'm going to try to break this down as quick as possible. So you got the Eternals, you got the Celestials. The Eternals were always misinterpreted. So the Celestials came to Earth. They saw man, Cro-Magnon man, and they did experiments. And because of those experiments, they made 3 offshoots. So first you had regular humans, us. Then you had the Eternals, who lived on Mount Olympus, the official Mount Olympus, not the fictional Mount Olympus where the gods are coming from. And I'll explain that. Then there was the Deviants, and the Deviants were, misshapen humanoids, and they went underground. So anytime that people would talk about werewolves and vampires and monsters, Frankenstein's monsters, they were usually the deviants that would come up to the surface, and this is how people interpret them and didn't know. When you saw certain characters in the distance, it's like, oh, geez, the 12 Tales of Hercules. Well, it wasn't really Heracles. It wasn't really Heracles. It was one of the Eternals that was on Earth that people thought was the god Hercules. So this is where it comes in, and the names are very similar. The leader of the Eternals on Earth was named Zaraeus, almost like Zeus. Came off the same way. And they were really on Mount Olympus. So when people would climb up to Mount Olympus and think, hey, I made it to Mount Olympus with the gods. Yeah, no, it wasn't the Zeus. You were seeing Zaraeus. Right? They were advanced, so they are, hard to kill, have healing abilities, super strong, have flight, and they lived on Mount Olympus. Now, they had their own little kind of, Zaraeus and his brother had a little bit of a mentor, had a little bit of a difference of opinion, and Mentor wanted to kind of do his own thing. So Mentor said, I'm going to outer space. He got anyone that wanted to go with him, formed what he called the Unimind. They would go, and this energy thing would form, and they would look like a giant brain, and that brain would float off into outer space, and that's where they went and lived in one of the planets around Saturn, and started their own colony and civilization there. So Mentor, gave birth to 2 kids, and one of them is Eros, the god of love, almost very similar to and he joined the Avengers, and very similar to what Greek mythology was, right? And then his brother was Thanos, Mr. One Snap, right? So he's an Eternal. So that is going to tie in. So there's Icarus, who's the main one. That's going to tie in a lot of Earth mythology. So anytime you saw like the people in Greece, and they turned around and looked up, and it's like, oh, look, there's the gods. It wasn't the gods they were seeing. It was the Eternals they were seeing. And then they decided to kind of leave the city and live among men, so they've long lived. They're not immortal, but they're extremely long lived. And the ones that stayed on Earth, so they're going to have their own adventures. You're going to see Athena, who's played by Angelina Jolie, and probably one of the Deviants, and how they had a secret relationship, how it brought in the current White Tiger, who we talked about before, because White Tiger, so it brings in a high evolutionary, right? Who you can catch a little quick in the X-Men cartoon, the Celestials. And the Celestials are on a higher power level than Galactus, even though Galactus knows about them. So it might open up that doorway for that. So it's got to bring in the Space Eternals, Captain Marvel. Now, Captain Marvel, not the movie version we saw with Carol Danvers, but the really Marvel, the original Captain Marvel. He interacted with the Eternals. He had a love interest with one of them. He had a daughter who comes back, and she's still around, and had a son. So that, once again, it's all about possibilities. We haven't seen much of the commercials, but the main ones, Icarus is there, Athena is there, Cersei, is there, and she joins the Avengers at one point. Mercury is there, but they changed the name, they changed the gender of the character, which fine, no problem. I like that they're bringing in the core one. So this is a comic book that was done and written by Jack Kirby. He created this whole thing and wanted to take it as grand and as big as possible. And because if I remember right, Marvel was kind of how he was playing the Eternals. He didn't really like it, caused him to go to DC and create the New Gods. So wow. And the Celestials, the space gods, that's going to bring in, it would be a great way to bring in Galactus, more of the characters I mentioned, more of the Deviants, explain their history, and the big tie-in is the Inhumans, because of the Celestials, they help form the Inhumans. That's Black Bolt, Medusa, Gorgon, Calabac, not Calabac, sorry. Oh my gosh, he's a kung fu one. But I mean, so let's not think too much about the TV series one, which they did cast, some of them really well. It just didn't get that same treatment as it should have, and really put them, because they started on Earth and then they moved to the moon, the blue area of the moon, which opens them up to a meeting of the Skrulls, I'm not saying Shi'ar, the Skrulls, and the Kree Empire opens up to them bringing in the Watcher. So this could be a very grand cosmic tale of not just a city. It could be in peril. They have to save the Earth. It's going to be, if you remember Thanos, I mean, he pretty much wiped out half the population. So the Eternals are going to be very big, large scale scope thing. So I'm definitely wanting to see more and see how they're going to play that out. But that's how it plays out. Quick history in the Marvel universe. And, Icarus, the main Eternal, he comes from a different, like a Viking tribe, I would say, even though he lives in Olympus, he goes back and forth. So he's got those roots. He falls in love with a girl, and the archaeologist gets in there and he helps them they help each other try to solve and track things down, because they know the Celestials are coming back to pass judgment on Earth. And it's either yay or nay. And if it's nay, we are not here after the movie's done, because we all get bleeped out. So yeah, that's my take on the Eternals.
Okay. So
I need
that's gonna be coming up like around November 5th. That's the time that's releasing. So the next one we're talking about in phase 4 is Spider-Man No Way Home. Now this one is being done, and that's a big anticipation with this, because there are some good possibility of we already know that a multiverse connection is steaming right through this. There's not a lot of information being divulged on who's on here completely. We do know a couple of recurring characters with the same actor portraying them, but the wild thing about these are from different Spider-Man universes, right, if you want to say it in that particular way. Yes. So this is very interesting. I can't wait to see what they're going to do. This is coming at the end of the year, but this one is now bringing back Electro, played by Jamie Foxx, right, and also is going to be included in this one will be Doctor Strange. So Benedict Cumberbatch will be in here as Doctor Strange, and this is where I'm seeing the tie-in of the multi-universe, because also Alfred Molina, Octo Octavius is coming back in.
Yeah, man.
So this is very interesting. And the thing that if not, everybody who may not be familiar is that the understanding that these, it's put it this way, Electro is from the Amazing Spider-Man spin-off series, and Octo is basically from the Sony Spider-Man one back in 2004. So the Tobey Maguire one and the Andrew Garfield, yeah. Garfield one is basically this. So this is where it's going to be interesting. Are they bringing those other two Spider-Mans in? Now, I know I believe I've seen something. I'm sure we've all seen something that kind of gives us that kind of notification that that's going down. There's no official saying, oh yeah, by the way, they are. But there's a possibility that Toby and Andrew may make a little appearance. I'm just gonna go with that.
Yeah. I know he came on and said, "Oh no, I haven't been approached by it." But how many times have stars turned around and say they haven't doing it, and then they do it, right?
That's why I'm just saying we don't know officially, but we've seen some photographs and some things to give the impression that is probably allege that something could be coming down the pipeline like that. But if when they do, it's going to be very fun. And again, Jamie Foxx coming back as Electro. Uh, Doctor Octopus is coming back, and I will say that for a live interpretation of Doctor Octopus, I
Best.
was very pleased. I was quite pleased
Dead on.
with his performance. So I am like way past like, okay, Electro did good, Octo did good. I'm like, okay, now we're gonna be doing this with a Tom Holland Spider-Man. Oh, this would be very interesting. Including, and the beautiful thing about this again, everything that's happening here, again, Marvel is being smart. You're introducing these characters. So now, once they make their foothold into, once that video reel plays, congratulations, you are now inducted into the MCU. Octo, Electro, Toby, Andrew. We'll see how those last two work out, but there's a possibility, and I'm happy to see that. So yeah, this is, again, there's a lot of stuff coming down the pipeline, and I'm just going to say that I'm quite happy to see this. This is a great merger. This is a great merger. I just hope that they can continue it later on. Again, because that the Spider-Man Tom Holland is still under the Sony umbrella empire.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. Anything's possible. Anything's possible. We'll leave it at that. What do you say?
I don't have much to say on it.
Oh, okay, cool. Joking.
Joking.
I know that's joking. You got nothing to say? Joking. Go on.
So first of all, they're bringing him in. So rumor is like, Andrew Garfield, Tom Holland, right? Tobey Maguire, they're all supposed to be coming back playing Spider-Man. Now this is going to tie into, could be, Doctor Strange into the multiverse of madness. You mentioned it right off the bat that they bringing in, Dr. Octopus, Electro's coming back, right? So Sinister Six. That's all I'm going to say. Sinister Six. If you bring in Sinister Six, take my money. Marvel, bring in Sinister Six, take my money. Here, that's okay. So first of all, in all the Spider-Man movies, we've seen Electro, we've seen Dr. Octopus, we've seen the Vulture. That's three,
Vulture.
right? We've seen Rhino, right? At the end of the Andrew Garfield movie,
right?
Right, he got the power. He got power armor, so he wasn't, just a suit, but it was like almost power armor. The guy was Rhino. That's four. Okay, you give me a Green Goblin, a Hobgoblin somewhere in there, right? Then you bring in Hobgoblin. That's five, and then you go back and bring back in Sandman. Give me back Sandman, that original actor that played Sandman. Boom, six, Sinister Six. Let's do this. It was on the Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon. Bring back the Sinister Six. Then now we talking something. Well, you even still got Mysterio that he's got to deal with.
You got Mysterio, and if you remember correctly, Scorpion was the last person to talk to the Vulture.
Yeah.
So there's a possibility. So there is all because of Doctor Strange and the multi. These are basically segueing into Doctor Strange and the multi-universe of madness. This is perfect because we have the touch again. We talked with WandaVision. We didn't get to WandaVision, but we're gonna get back to it. We're gonna do another segment on that one. We're gonna do another segment on those ones. Spider-Man and that Spider-Man, No Way, Doctor Strange. So basically, all these multiverse type of touches is all stemming to there. So yeah, this is going to be.
Absolutely. Look, I'm gonna even take it further, right? So you got 8 villains that we've called out that you can take 6 out of those 8 and bring in any version of the Sinister Six all aboard for that ride, right? And these are my last final points on this one. Plus, we know there's there's a Venom 2 movie coming out. Yep. We know Venom does mention Spider-Man in the movie, so there could be a cross right there that and there's a Morbius movie. So there's a lot that we can do with Spider-Man, with multiple crossovers, bringing in any version of the Sinister Six with this team playing out one way or the other, crossovers. And let's, if you're bringing in Morbius, you can bring in a Blade. We know. So Spider-Man is a big doorway,
right,
for possibility of a lot of things, depending how they want to do it. If they want to do like the last one as a 2-parter, like they did with the last Harry Potter movie, and say, well, we're going to do a part 1 and part 2 of this movie, there's enough source material to go all out. So, I wish the love to see they bring in my man Kraven the Hunter, but even without him, even though we need him, there's a lot to go in with this whole multiverse of madness. And if they can, bring in Spider-Man 2099. There's a lot. So yeah, that's my final thought. I mean, you can't go wrong. We'll see more as the trailers come out. We'll see more when it's closer to the release date. But that's my thought on that one. Boom.
Okay. So that's going to coming out basically end of the year. So that's December 17th. So 2021. That's when Spider-Man No Way Home is supposed to be releasing. So we'll stay tuned for that. So now this just leads us straight into the most common thing we've been saying for the past 3 to 4 of our little intros was a certain person by the name of Dr. Strange. Dr. Stephen Strange. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Ladies and gentlemen, this is part of what we're all tying into. Doctor Strange now is going to be having his second movie, and it's a banger. It's a big one. All I gotta say, there's a lot of stuff tying into this. Again, I just love going back and saying Marvel's doing this right. Marvel is just intertwining these things perfectly and giving the people what they want. They want to see something that's out there. I don't think you're gonna have nothing more than this at the time. But there's other stuff coming behind. That's right now, Doctor Strange. Listen, he's gonna have to now dealing with. My take, because there's not a lot of information going too tough on what it is. So there's a lot of, speculation of what's going on right now in what we're going to expect in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. But a couple of words in there, Multiverse of Madness. Now we're going to talk about someone who's going to be, I'm just thinking, someone's mad. Somebody's going to lose their mind. Out of the past few people we've been talking and seeing, people have some anger issues. I agree. People got some anger issues. People got some built-up tension that they got to release. But one person had the most built-up tension. The only way to release it was to recreate a whole town in her own image, per se. That's big. That's ballsy. That's danger. That's craziness. If you haven't caught what I was talking about, I'm talking about
WandaVision.
Oh yeah, we got some problems coming down the pipeline. So with her going off like that, I believe this is where she intertwined from the last we saw from her on the Disney Plus show.
Yes.
Plus.
Plus.
I saw someone said plus. He said plus, so I'm like, oh, that's funny. I will call it plus. That one. Disney Plus.
Disney Plus.
Plus.
Bonjour tout le monde, ça c'est Disney Plus. No, I mean, we're not Disney Plus, but we watch Disney Plus. Disney Plus.
We have to do that. Hometown. All right, cool. So, I'm way past excited. I technically can't wait for this movie to come out because there's so many possibilities that can stem to it, through it, and out of it, that would make so much sense that we're like, yeah, I saw that happening. That makes sense right there. Oh, I didn't see that coming, but that makes sense.
Right.
Warp reality, change it, realizing I'm going to need someone from another universe, Andrew, Toby, whatever it may be. I'm going to have to bring somebody else from another universe, multiverse, and to settle the madness on this side. There's a lot of connection from other movies going into here. So I personally just saying, there's not a lot of information going on right now. We know it's this is coming out next year, March. So, stuff is already in production. They're already doing their stuff right now. So I just can't wait. What do you got to say?
So Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Keyword, as you nailed it, was multiverse. So now Multiverse of Madness, you can bring in one of the villains, Nightmare. Nightmare resides in people's dreams, and Nightmare will be playing mind games with people. Would Scarlet Witch, with her finally getting the name Scarlet Witch, and know that the Dark Tomb is around, and she's using that. And then here's at the end of her series, spoiler alert, if you haven't watched it yet, sorry. Her kids screaming for her. because her kids have disappeared and they're screaming for her. That means they're in a multiverse of madness. We know that they brought in her brother, or the body of her brother, even though he looked different, but he was the person who played Quicksilver in the X-Men movies and not in the Avengers movies. Means, oh, maybe Pietro is not dead and they're going to bring him back. And the question is, who's going to play him? Is it the original actor who played him in the Avengers movie, or will it be the actor who played him in the X-Men movie? And if it's the actor who played him in the X-Men movie, then that actor is going to say, well, in my universe, our dad deals with magnetism. So that's a gateway to bring in the mutants, right? Yes.
Can I put a 30-second pause right here? I just saw, shout out to the team, YouTube team that, how it should have ended.
Yes.
This is no plug or anything like that. I've been following these guys for like friggin' years. These guys are just great. I always anticipate and can't wait. So I just saw one where they were talking about the Scarlet Witch, and then you see how it ended off, that she's at her cabin.
Yeah.
So it ended off with the cabin. So actually, let me pause it. Have you seen it?
Yes, I have. Of course.
So you seen it? No, the how it ended. Not
how it ended, but I have my theory. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. Sorry. I'm referring from the how it should have ended. Mm-hmm. So basically, it was beautiful that it ended off like the movie, like the TV show ended. She's in the cabin. Mm-hmm. This time she's outside with the White Vision. Mm-hmm. So we'll just leave it like that. And then something happens. It just stirs her attention, whatever the case be, and you see afar off someone floating in, and by saying, "I love how you did it. How you took care of those guys, those officers with the guns." Levitating the guns. That's my girl. And he took off. And when you said her, like, what are you talking? I was like,
Magneto, because he did the exact same thing in the X-Men Sony movie.
Yo, I heard that. I was like, mic drop. I'm like, you guys are dirty. You guys are mean. That's so nice.
Absolutely.
Nice. So in this regard,
yes,
this will be perfect way. Now,
segue.
Sir Ian, it would have been too over. See, this is where I would love for them to bring in, like you're saying, you're now going into the multiverse, talking about the kids and everything like that. Mm-hmm. Now you're talking about pulling in a Pietro. Which Pietro are we going to see? We don't know. And I've always personally, and I'm sure anybody who's been watching and staying in tune with the MCU and Fox, and if you know the comic book histories, Barry, I'm sure may just dip into it for a quick second. With Scarlet Witch, she in the arc of the House of M, when she just like say, that's it, she just lost it kind of scenario. She just said, "No more mutants," and then every mutant disappeared. Well, not all of them, but most of them are just disappeared. So, what it would be interesting if she did the reverse and she says something, maybe not mutants, but say something in the realm of pop them in, and this is how we get Fox's mutant appearance. But that's just my personal theory, and I'm sure I'm not the only person. I'm sure I'm not the only person on this current planet that we call Earth right now. Earth right now, who's thought of that, because that would be a beautiful way to infuse and just inject any of the Fox's characters that they just recently purchased, and be able to justify and just bring in mutants into society, and basically make it like, oh, they're here. Okay, we now got to work with them, and who are they in that kind of scenario? And then we could just segue from there, but pulling them from another universe. So it may just mean that, again, the Toby universe, the Andrew universe, the Fox X-Men universe, the Fantastic Four universe. All these ones could slowly just integrating and pull them in and dash them into what I believe are supposed to be the 616 Earth.
Yes.
So that'll be perfect. But I'm sure I am nowhere at Kevin Feige's level of concentration. He's thinking like he's playing like super chess, or he's playing oh my goodness, I forgot the name. The chess from Spock from X.
From Star Trek. That's what I was thinking. The 3-level ones. Yeah.
The 3-level one. You got to go deep into like. Gonna mess you up. I can't even figure out level 1. Sucker, I got your life.
They don't know. Like, as I said, they don't know. So you called it, because in the comic book we know that Agatha Harkness
Mhm.
When she has a son, so her son is part of a group called the Salem Seven, right? And dealing with Salem, so they got to deal with that a little bit. They could deal with that a little bit more, and that could be a villain for her. Now, Doctor Strange can deal with Nightmare, the store Domomu, who's running around, right?
Right.
Mordu, who's is running around, right? And he needs to
Right.
help her with that. You know, you mentioned the whole thing of Fantastic Four. Now, if you don't read the comic books, you never realize that when Reed Richards and Susan Storm get married, and it's a Reed and Sue Storm, they have a son named Franklin. Franklin
Mhm.
has powers. They had to dial it back down because he has powers on level with the Celestials. This now brings the Celestials coming in. It's like, who's got this power like us? And comes to Earth. So he's that powerful.
Mhm.
That there, Franklin needs a nanny, and the nanny is Agatha Harkins, right? She's the nanny for Franklin. So that ties into Fantastic Four nicely. Franklin in the future, and you know, he's older, and this deals with another possibility where you see an older Franklin, and he is going out with a girl named Rachel, and this girl is Rachel Summers, which is the daughter of Scott Summers and Jean Grey, and it's called a storyline called Days of Future Past by Chris Claremont and John Bryan that did that. So he shows up there and other times. So that there's a lot.
Man.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ways. There's a lot of ways Marvel can play this. They can definitely just go, and especially from this particular movie, this particular one, the possibilities are really endless. And like I said in the beginning
Dangerous.
of this part of it, that we may be thinking he's going to go around this way. There's ways to come into this movie, work in the movie, and work out into another one, which will all make sense. Even those of you were like saying, I never even saw that coming. Because we're dealing with a multiverse, that any of the rich history that Marvel has,
Yes.
there's enough storyline that they can go anywhere in here, and it will most likely make sense. I have to say, I don't thinking off the cuff. I don't think I do recall that much Marvel movies that didn't make that much sense. You know what I mean? Like everything kind of it kind of fit into play. Some of them might have been
actual Marvel movies. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Some of them the story may have been like maybe we'll just like slow it down a bit, or maybe like there might have been a fillers type of scenario. But in all, the whole thing still tied in and it made sense. So with Doctor Strange, I really do see that this is going to be a great way of tying in a lot of stuff. Definitely Earthwise, and like you're saying in regards to Mephisto. Well, again, Mephisto. So yeah, Mephisto. You know, because again, we have to because we know time is still getting kind of long, but we're gonna still work on that. But we got to get on that vision. We got to get that WandaVision for another one because that Mephisto could have definitely been in there and could have been dipping out into this. So
so Mephisto is a villain for both. So we'll do that when we cover a series. We're just going to cover the Phase 4 movie. So we'll cover the Phase 4 TV series on another one. But
I'll definitely plan to that. Yeah, go ahead.
So hit me. When's it dropping on this one?
So this one is dropping out next year, March. So March 25th, 2022 is when Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is coming.
I keep doing this because this is Doctor Strange's sign. It's almost like he joined the clique from WWE with Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, and then I know the other one is for the Bullet Club, right? Yes, I like my wrestling. I like my wrestling, man. Shawn Michaels and Triple H and all those guys. Those are the clique. But then the Bullet Club uses the same one too with Scott, Finn Balor and
can't think of that nowhere.
Not the Hardys, I'm going to say, but. AEW Tag Team Champions. It's the Young Bucks. There we go. The Young Bucks and Kenny Omega and and the Gallows and good guys. Yeah. So I like my AEW. So okay, cool. So we got that. That's March. Boom, done. All right. So
the next one,
Joker,
will be Thor, Love and Thunder.
Love and Thunder.
Thor, Love and Thunder. Yes. Oh my gosh. So. This is I'm okay. So
hit me.
I'm like okay. So I'm just trying to go from where we left off. We left off Thor with Ragnarok, and they basically was coming back to the Marine New Zealand, not New Zealand, but I think it wasn't New Zealand. Where was that? Was still on American soil. I I can't remember off the top of my head
I can't remember
at this point.
I can't remember. I know what you mean, but I can't remember either. So yeah.
I can't remember. But they went back. You could tell that they're going
Yes.
back to that particular settlement that, to the village. And,
Yes.
they're going to build or just basically continue going from there for new Asgard.
Yes.
And just go from there, And but Love and Thunder, I if I remember correctly, it's a Russell Crowe who's making the appearance, right?
Yes. You know who Russell Crowe's playing?
He's playing Zeus.
Zeus. Confirmed. He said it himself. He's coming into Love and Thunder playing Zeus. So this is why people were speculating if you're bringing in Zeus into Marvel, are you going to bring in his son, which is Hercules, which we talked before at the beginning of this, where it's rumored that they're reaching out to Henry Cavill to play Hercules. Now, I've seen fans say something different, which I agree with them online. I'd rather Henry come in playing Captain Britain than Zeus. Than playing Hercules.
Yeah.
I like to see a different actor. Give a different actor Hercules. I'd rather see him play Captain Britain. So let's not get off. We're talking about Thor, Love and Thunder. So we know he's had his time with the Guardians of the Galaxy. We know Valkyrie is in there. She's leading the tribe, for New Asgard. We know Jane Foster is going to get in there, and she's going to get the power of Thor. And a lot of people are like, what do you mean? And other people are going to read the comic book and go, oh, yeah, that's what's happening now. Let's go back to the 70s, shall we? Love and Thunder. In the 70s, there was a comic book series called What If. In What If, and I can't remember the issue number, so forgive me, but in What If, they had what if Jane Foster had the power of Thor, and she picks up the hammer and turns into, they still called her Thor, but she was a female Thor. So that's how far back this idea of Jane Foster being in it. I know now recently Jane Foster came across with cancer, and she used the power of Thor because Thor lost the hammer, yada yada. So I'm excited for this. So them bringing in Zeus, a possible Hercules, which will round up my whole team of the original champions, and seeing how that plays out. Hopefully Thor gets his power back, and I hope that they do the aspect of New Asgard is still hanging on Earth, but it's like floating just above the Earth, and he had his whole thing in New Mexico. So that was a run where they formed New Asgard in New Mexico, hanging out there. So it kind of nicely tie up the story. So for that, I'm excited. I'm excited to see and see how the Guardians and his time in the Guardians played into that. And it would be nice to crisscross with some of the Eternals, because Thor does, deal with one called the Forgotten One, who was their version of the Hercules, but he was blind from the Eternals, comic book series, and ended up fighting this guy called the Forgotten One. So, yeah. And of course, Hercules too, because you get Thor and Hercules in a one-on-one fist fight. Come on, it's like everyone looks and sees a thing versus Hulk in the comic books at one point.
Right.
Hit me. What you got? What's your thought on it?
So my thought on that is, they're gonna. Yeah, I'm happy for that. But I was trying to get back to which version of Thor, because there's showing a clip of Thor and his. Again, I forgive me, even in the particular issue it was, but there was a time that Thor wasn't worthy. And basically, he had, like, say, the second personality where he was just with the cutoff jacket with the ponytail, and that particular version of Thor. I remember seeing a clip somewhere,
Thunderstruck.
Thunderstruck. Thank you, Thunderstruck. So to make it seem like they're actually going to try to pull towards that way.
Yes,
I think it's going to be kind of coinciding that when Jane has the power of Thor, he now can't really be calling himself Thor. He's just going to be calling himself Thunderstruck, and go from that aspect for it, until who knows how the story is going to change and go from there. So I'm wondering, Thor's love, that's why she has Thor, and he's Thunder, and he's Thunderstruck. Who knows if that's just a metaphor off the name, and
right?
That's how we got the title of it. I don't know. But this is, I definitely want to see that, because it's going to show us a different side of him, realizing now that he doesn't feel worthy to lead. Now he's out with the Guardians, and yeah, because we'll get to that later too. The Guardian 3 is coming out later on as well.
True.
So
once he doesn't call himself Thunderlips, And if y'all didn't catch that reference, that's a shout out back to Rocky 3 when Hulk Hogan was in there playing a wrestler fighting Balboa, and he went by Thunderlips. Because, you know, if you don't know, Chris is who plays Thor is working on like a madman right now to do the biopic of Hulk Hogan. Knowledge.
So that's what's going down, and that's going to be going down next year. So that's
Yes.
they're forecasting that for like May 6th of 2022. That's when that's coming out. So I definitely can't wait. Definitely, you know, we're going to get some more information. We're probably in the next few months.
Yeah.
I would give it maybe another 3 or 4 months before we start seeing some trailers and seeing something regarding this. So I can't wait. I can't wait for
All right,
that.
so we got like pretty much almost like 3 more to go. So okay, what's hit with the next one? I hit.
So next one basically is Black Panther: Wakanda Forever.
Excited. Don't
I'm
see any
excited.
information on it.
Mhm.
I just want to see how they're going to go. I mean, let's wait. Chadwick Boseman, you know, rest in peace. He really set the social movement on fire by playing this character. The writing on it, the costumes on it, everything was phenomenal. It really was a movie needed during these trying times with everything that's going on. So I'm not going to get too political. I'm just saying it was a nice breath of fresh air. And you know, I just really hope they keep this legacy going alive properly. I know that, yes, his sister Shuri does, you know, get the power of the Black Panther. It's actually written in the storylines in the comic book, so this is not going to be anything foreign or a stretch. It's just that usually when she's there, he was somewhat there in the background. So I'm curious how they're going to see that in there. I was hoping to see, you know, a Storm from the X-Men show up, you know. So I don't know how they're even going to handle him not being around. And depending how they handle him not being around is going to determine how they go forward with the rest of the movie. So I'm very excited because, I mean, look, the first one blew me away. And I like that they're not recasting him. They're just going to keep the memory alive. So I want to see how they're going to handle it. And once again, you know, when it was the marriage between T'Challa and Aurora, like, so it was Black Panther and Storm, heroes from all around the world came to be at the wedding. So the X-Men were there, Fantastic Four were there, Brother Voodoo was there, you know, Power
Isaiah
Man
Bradley was there himself. Exactly.
yeah, Isaiah Bradley was there himself. You know, so all Black Lives was there. All these heroes and villains, regardless of ethnic background, were there for their marriage. So I'm not sure. It'd be nice if they're going to do a big send off and say he passed away in whatever scenario, if they're actually going to count that Black Panther has passed away. I don't know if that's what they're doing. And that would be a great segue to bring in a lot of actors, even if they didn't have a full out speaking role, but there to represent certain things. So if you saw, let's say we all know they're going to make a Fantastic Four movie, and T'Challa was very instrumental in the Fantastic Four. If they're going to just bring in the Reed Richards, and just to say, you know, have them there with the four on, and you're like, oh, so this is the potential of a new Fantastic Four movie. Okay, fine. And then have their thing was, oh yeah, you know, when they actually get their own movie, said, yeah, we were there at the, you know, the passing for T'Challa, but we remember meeting him in a flashback scene. They can do a flashback scene with someone in a costume, not, you know, just to represent something in a very quick, or even a picture, and just leave it at that. Let's not overdo it and take away from that memory. So
yeah, well, I'll so I know exactly what you're saying. It's a tough one to call because the scenario is, for me, to bring in Reed Richards before the Fantastic Four actually come in.
Okay.
You see, the timeline is not going to be working out.
No,
showing
yeah, that's
how
right.
developing who he is.
I'm just
the only way. You see, the only way it would have kind of worked, like again, going back to the previous one we just talked about, Doctor Strange. So once she may speak the words or other words, mutants or something like that,
right,
to infuse and start bringing all these Fox characters in, then it would have been at least saying that, hey, I saw, you know, I heard of him, I came into this world, or whatever the case would be, or see it, this again, even when they're doing that, my mind was thinking, are you gonna make it like some people actually pull from another universe and they have knowledge of their previous universe and they're in a new one now? Right. Or they're just completely mind wiped, that they don't know where they came from and they're now thinking that they've been here for so long. So this, I don't know how they're going to do that, but that's going to be interesting. But one thing I did like about when you brought up about the marriage of Storm and T'Challa, that you're absolutely correct. A lot of different people, a lot of different characters came to Wakanda to represent and to pay their honors, pay, respect and be there for the wedding. And it was even people who had disagreements. Like Doctor Doom
Yes.
made an appearance.
Yes.
Which was a big thing. And everybody knew, Doom's here, clobbering time. Nah, we're on sacred ground. Not today. What? Not today.
Next
You can do it
time,
when you
catch
leave.
it.
You could do it pretty much. So Doom will be great as well, but he's not going to be there because he's not going to come into any time with the Fantastic Four, which is afterwards. No. So, but I will say with Wakanda, with Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, I definitely am happy that they're not planning to recast Chadwick. So I'm happy with that.
Mm-hmm.
And show some type of way of honoring him and keeping his memory alive or somehow into the storyline, because it'd be very interesting that it'll probably, only way I can think of it off the cuff is that they're going to hold on for the majority of the movie, and only towards the end, Sherry's going to have to make a decision to take out the mantle of being the Black Panther.
Yes.
But it's going to be a lot of emotional conflict throughout the movie.
Absolutely.
That's going to be what's going to be pulling her. I need to do it for Wakanda.
Absolutely.
I need to do it for my people, but I'm not worthy to be my brother, to fill my brother's shoes.
Right.
And again, even then, if you look at the timeline, then that is not even so far behind from when she lost her father. Because T'Challa didn't really even have the mantle of the Black Panther. Well, the father was already put aside, and T'Challa was always doing it. But in the sense that her father just passed away, then T'Challa gonna pass away. Then that's gonna be like within. There's a lot of emotions gonna be there. So I really can't wait to see how they're gonna write that into the story, and just give us a. They're gonna give it. I know we're gonna get something very, very heart moving, because I think that was the one thing about Black Panther that a lot of people didn't expect. They expected a lot of fighting throughout the movie, and it wasn't that.
No.
They gave you a lot of story. They gave you a lot of emotion. They basically pulled you in and gave you an understanding of why he's doing this and his inner battles, against culture and going forward and so forth. And it brought you. So they can keep in that same type of line.
Yeah.
It will pan out perfectly in Black Panther 2. Forever. So this is gonna be a very interesting one. Of course, we don't have any information about it. I saw somewhere someone was saying about bringing back
Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I mean, because I try to think in my head afterwards, and I haven't had a chance. Like I've thought this because we just thought about doing this. I didn't get a chance to go back, but I had this thought literally about 2 weeks ago, where I was like, or a week ago when they started talking about Michael B coming back in. I'm thinking, okay, I think I had this thought beforehand too. When he passed away at the mouth of the cave, he slumped over.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah.
To my recollection, there was nothing said, shown,
then
done.
He survived past that.
Right.
Yeah. So, but in Marvel, no one dies forever. But
that's exactly it. Yeah. So this is where I think at that time I thought it was like it was a doorway or a window that kept it open.
Yeah, I don't see how, if they do how to explain it. But, the only thing I would see that would make sense is no matter how this movie plays out, that for sure the Winter Soldier should make some kind of appearance in the movie.
It has, yeah.
And the new Captain America, Sam Wilson, right? Falcon, should make some type of appearance because, in his new wings and his costume were given to him by Wakanda.
Oh, yeah.
right? So I can see that that's where it can tie in. So that's the final thought on that. We'll see when more information comes out of it. We'll talk about it when we get closer to it, right?
Yeah,
So
and that's coming out like next year. So that's July 8th, 2022. That's when it's
gotcha.
forecast to be released. Now, the last few ones we're gonna get through them kind of quick.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of information on it, so it actually won't be too long stretch. But the next one is the Marvels.
Mhm.
So I will admit that I was taken back from the Marvels because I wasn't sure which one or what they were planning to do with. Because as we know, there's a lot of different Marvels in the MCU, and I saw a post somewhere which actually kind of pointed out that again, so far we know there's two Marvels, and looks like a third one is coming in. So there's Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel. Then you have Rebecca,
Monica Rambeau.
Monica Rambeau. Sorry, my apologies. Monica Rambeau is coming in because basically by what she went through for Vision, for WandaVision, her powers are starting to manifest there. And then there's Miss Marvel that's coming out. So the Miss Marvel one I know is really more of a Disney Plus, but how are they integrating into this part of the movie in this particular title? I don't know. That's where I'm like, I admit myself, I don't know what they got planned for that. Like I haven't heard anything really, just the title. That's it. So I don't know if you've heard anything along that line.
Watch me.
Okay, let's go.
All right, so you're right. So now the original Miss Marvel movie was taking place in the past. This one's gonna take place present time, right?
Oh
So
yeah, I understand.
yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
I didn't say that. I should have said that along that line. But my head was
Right.
thinking
I know you had it.
one of the others. But yeah. Oh yeah.
Right. So Carol Danvers definitely comes back to Earth, right? Because she's got to deal with the Skrulls. She comes back to Earth, present time. She catches up now with Monica Rambeau. Monica Rambeau was in the character was in the first Captain Marvel movie. So you had Carol Danvers and you had her best friend who was her co-pilot, right? And then she went to see her niece, who she refers to as her niece, that young little girl at the time. That's Monica Rambeau, now grown up, joined SWORD, went through her training, became a pilot, followed her mom's footsteps. Mom ended up passing away because she was in the hospital because of cancer. We'll talk more when we talk more of the Disney Plus streaming service, WandaVision. Monica Rambeau takes on, in the comic book, the name Miss Marvel, even though she doesn't have the same powers as Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers. She takes on the name Miss Marvel. Now, they did a shout out because Monica Rambeau's mom, her call sign when she was flying was Photon. She takes on that name. So the Photon, Miss Marvel, that's where they're going to intertwine. They're going to have to deal with that family drama because we know by the end of the series, she's looking to catch up with Carol. Now, the new Miss Marvel, who's going to have her Disney Plus series, I'm sure is going to come in because she's a teenager and she's inspired by Carol Danvers. So we got to see why she was inspired by her. This is why she goes by Mrs. Marvel, which was Carol's comic book name. So when you had Marvel, there was Captain Marvel, and then there was Miss Marvel.
And this is the part that I'm saying that I don't know. I knew of that, but I knew that she has her own version coming out.
Yes,
and she's coming out wild enough. Miss Marvel is supposed to be coming out this year.
Yes,
that's coming out this year on Disney Plus. So is it going to intertwine and collect themselves back into the Marvels? I believe so, but that's why I just I really don't know anything more. Like I didn't know if Miss Marvel is going to be part of it. I knew Monica definitely.
From what I'm seeing, it seems so, or it's going to be some mention, or she's going to see it. So it might not be a big role, but she will be mentioned because in the comic book, the new Miss Marvel runs into Carol Danvers and Caesar in a comic book, and this is why she gets inspired. So we know Photon, let's just call her Monica Rambeau's will go by Photon. Photon is taken off into space to go and seem to find Carol and deal with the Skrulls, and this is going to deal with other stuff coming up, Secret Invasion and so forth. So that's what we know about that one. So that's why excited to see it. I want to see all of them intertwine again, as characters, and see how that dynamic breaks down, and then see how the names go and see how they inspire, and see how the Kree Empire is going to come into this one. And hopefully it'd be nice if they bring in the Shi'ar. If they bring in the Shi'ar and you got the Skrulls, okay, so that's that. So that's my final thought.
Okay.
So that what's the next one we got coming up?
The next one coming up is going to be Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. So Oh, before I go any further, before I forgot, the Marvels, that one's coming out on November 11th in 2022. We just keep in the same vein. So that one's coming out on end of next year. Well, towards the end, November 11th,
Right.
2022. That's when the Marvel's coming out. Now, the next one that we're talking about real quickly is Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantum Mania. So, um, all I know is, well, we ended off Ant-Man and the Wasp. She basically helped out, but she was part of Endgame. I mean, Endgame and everything along that line. So, what's gotten me curious is the Quantum Mania. So we're gonna go back. We're gonna go back in there. Both of them now, I'm wondering, are gonna go in there. Or what are they gonna tell? Are they gonna now find a microverse, micronaut? I just give me the layout because I know you're gonna talk about it. So I'm just gonna send it to you, and yeah. So who knows what we're going on that, because that's gonna be a very interesting storyline that I really am just like, at this time right now, it's too far ahead for me to start to try to figure out what they're trying to do. I will admit, the possibilities are endless. Again, it's the same type of quantum physics type of world, just like in parallel to Doctor Strange in the multi-universe type of conversation. So I'll just let you go. Yep.
Okay, so here's where I'm going with this, right? So first of all, Marvel, get your lawyers involved, get your team involved. You need to get the rights back to Micronauts. You're playing around with people's feelings. That ain't right, Marvel. You turn around, you DC Plus, you playing around with you got Disney money, you got Disney lawyers. You turn around, stop playing around with our feelings, okay? Get the Micronauts name back. I know it was with IDW, it was different. Get the properties back, okay? So first of all, the last one, you went down into the subatomic universe. Subatomic, that's microverse. We know that's the microverse. Why you always keep playing around? That's Psycho Man. That's Captain Arcturus Rand. That's Mary, Princess Mary. That's Acroyer. That's Biotron. That's that's Robotron. That's Bug. Come on, man. You know what I mean? Cecilia. You all playing around. Baron Kaza. You playing around with me. So this was Bill Mantello and Mantello and Golden. You guys turned around and made a great series back in 1977. And just around that whole Star Wars phase, and there's rebellion involved, and there's spaceships involved, and they came from the microverse into the real world, and even though they came in from the microverse into our universe, they didn't change size, so they kind of passed off. They were the same size of live action figures with a spaceship and technology, and the time traveler, and the Enigma Force, and the Endeavor, so stop playing around with me and just get your lawyers, get all the properties back under one house, because we know Bug was in the Guardians of the Galaxy comic book that just came out recently with Star-Lord. So if you got Bug in Star-Lord, you got to get Bug back with the rest of the team, getting back with the original Rebels and crew. I don't know why you always playing around and getting so close and skating on the surface. That's just being wrong. You don't tease people like that, Disney. You don't do that to me. You know what? I'm old and my heart can't take it. Come on now. So get your lawyers involved, get the checkbook open, get the rights all back to you, and then we could go from Quantum Universe to the Microverse, and then open that whole span up, because we know that Ant-Man has teamed up with the Micronauts before. Nightcrawler has teamed up with the Micronauts before. Okay, the Fantastic Four has teamed up with the Micronauts. The Fantastic Four went into the Microverse way before the Microverse had the Micronauts in it, and that was a whole adventure, right? And that. So I don't know what you're playing around. We all know it's the Microverse. I mean, I want to see the micro. I want my original Micronaut toys to come back. People that knew me from as a kid, I was all about collecting the Micronauts. I had Space Glider and Time Traveler and the Astro Station. I had all of that. I had the Photon Cycle. I know you try to talk to me about Micronauts. You can't talk to me about Micronauts, son. You don't know me enough to talk to me about Micronauts. And if you talk to me about Micronauts, you better bring a Micronaut. You understand that? You better bring the Centaurs, like the Baron Kaza and the Force Commander.
All right.
Toys with the magnets.
Okay, yeah. I think the lawyers are getting their briefcase ready. If they aren't, they better after watching this.
So I said, I don't know anything that's going on, but if you're going to go all the way into the Microverse, let's just say you better bring in the
I love that. I have no clue what I'm talking about. I have no clue. Sorry. You say, I have no clue what you guys are talking about, but I know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the Microverse. Are you prepared?
Talking about the micro, come on. There's certain things that stand with me. That's Gatchaman, that's Guyver, that's Micronauts.
So let me just do a 30-second jump in, just in case people are wondering where and why is Barry being so passionate, in the sense of where the connection. If you go back to when it was Jane Jane from the original Jane Van. Oh my God, I can't.
Jane Van
Oh
Dyke,
my
yeah.
God. I thank you.
Yeah.
I'm here thinking like Van Dyke from the 70s. It's like, no, it's not that.
Mhm.
Just owned by Jane. So when the original Wasp was going into back, trapped into quantum, and she was there with Michael Douglas, with that particular Ant-Man, she was able to talk to someone and say, "We need to pass. Let us through." Okay, you can pass. Now, who is she talking to? This is where the segue, where Barry is exiting off of this off ramp with quick speed at 140, taking that corner with no problem. He's not letting up on the gas, people. Be prepared. This is what he's talking about. So they already made some type of indication that something, or some type of civilization, or some type of, entity is alive in that area. We have no clue this could possibly be it. Even when I heard that, I'm like, oh, this could be something. But then she just went on by and didn't really talk about it. I'm like, okay, all right, we'll come back to you. Put a pin on it. Put a pin on it. And this is the pin. So this is what we're probably what we're going to hear and find out some more information about. Ant-Man and Wasp is going to be diving into that particular part of the universe, which is actually great because we have all these adventures happening on Earth. We have all these adventures happening out in space. We have these adventures happening in a multiverse type of mindset, Dream Slate 2 as well. We might even go into that on that particular part of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
We've entered the quantum microverse type of realm, but we didn't play in that sandbox. I think this is the time to put on your galoshes and go in and get your flip flops, or just go in barefoot and feel the sand between your toes and go right in. This may be it. So, on that note, I am definitely I really want to see where we're going to go, because even as a techie person like myself, I want to see the political PR craziness that Ant-Man is going to have down there, where Wasp is going to have to hold back some type of invasion or something like that, because he's going to say something wrong. He's going to do something wrong, and he's going to mess somebody up, and she's going to have to save his life and everybody's life. So it's going to be, I love the yin and yang aspect between them.
Right. So
this is going to be funny, where there's going to be, some comedy chops coming out of that, where he's going to go down, do or say something wrong, and and she's going to have to intervene and just have to save your life again.
Hashtag Micronauts.
There you go. So this is going to be fun. So that one is coming out February 17th, 2023. So we're now talking about going on 2 years. So we can check that out and see how that goes. So that's that. So the next one is Guardian of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Yeah, so we're gonna end it all with this one, because I know there's one more, but it's still a date to be announced. So we're gonna end it off with this one.
Yeah. So the Guardian of the Galaxy 3. Now they've been pushed back, due to some stuff that's happening in our particular real world with James Gunn and everything along that line. So I'm happy that it's back on course.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff is being done.
Mm-hmm.
This is now after Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yep.
So this is where it's going to be quite interesting to see how they. You see, to me, it's a timestamp thing that I'm trying to figure out, because Guardian 2.
Thor was there at the end of it.
Thor was there at the end of it.
Right.
So, is he going to continue rolling with them or not? Or was it just a quick, little, he took me somewhere, whatever the case to be, brought him to Thor and Love and Thunder, and that's great. And then we drop you off, and then Guardians are on their own. Who knows? But, I mean, this is nearly 2 years. This is going 2 years from now, expected release date. So, yeah, there's no information. I really haven't heard anything myself. I haven't done any major digging, because it's just so far ahead.
Right. No, I haven't heard anything. So all I can do is I'm going to plug this real quick as some quick thoughts. So you're right. So timestamp wise, it takes place after Thor: Love and Thunder, right? So if they make some mention that we had Thor with us and Thor has left, okay, that's cool. They move on. They could, now seeing that there's a possibility that Hercules can come in. Hercules did have a miniseries, 4-issue miniseries where he went into outer space at one point. So maybe Hercules can join the Guardians of the Galaxy for a little bit. That'd be a nice tie-in to Thor: Love and Thunder if they're bringing in Hercules and then have, let's say Thor stays and they take Hercules with them to go, and then Hercules is still there. So that's one thing that would be interesting to see. If they bring in Bug from the Micronauts, that'd be really great because I did it in a comic book. Hashtag Micronauts. So that'd be cool to see. The Eternals. So the Eternals and the Celestials. So seeing that Old Station is in a Celestial, one of the old Celestial heads or something similar to that in the comic book where they kind of hang out, the Nowhere Station, that would be, it was a Celestial head. So in the comic book. So that would be a tie-in for the Eternals, Celestials, Guardians of the Galaxy. Could be another heist movie. They have to go and steal something. And the last Guardians of the Galaxy brought in the original Guardians of the Galaxy in different roles, right? So you had Sylvester Stallone that was in there, was playing Stakar, who was in his superhero identity in the comic book was Starhawk. You had Marty, you had, so all those things in there. Would be interesting to see some of the original Guardians come back and see how they do the MCU universe part of it, because the original Guardians took place in the 31st century and they kind of time traveled back and forth to present day. And because of, Doctor Strange and, they made their appearance, I believe it was, they had their own Marvel Spotlight appearance they made. They made appearances in the Defenders comic book, which was Strange, Hulk, Nighthawk, Hellcat, Valkyrie. So a lot of these people already existing in one way or the other, in the movie universe or the TV streaming universe, these characters exist. So it's open. I'm curious. I mean, I'm always good, and I'm always thinking, my name's Star-Lord. So that's what cracks me up the most.
Come on, guys. Never heard of me?
Lord, man. So I haven't heard much about it, but those are things I'd like to see. And if they bring something else completely left field and surprise me, I'd be happy with that too. So, the Guardians has always been a good ride, but I want to see a little bit more connectivity with either you bring in Hercules and have them there. Even if you throw in Beta Ray Bill, I'd be happy, right? To see that kind of crossover. So after taking place after Love and Thunder, there's a Beta Ray Bill that can be, in my mind, put in there. A Hercules can be in there. I'm repeating myself. Eternals crossover. So a lot of crossovers there. The question is, who's be the next big bad for Phase 4? I would love Galactus. You dealt with Thanos. I would love Galactus, not Galactus, the gaseous cloud Galactus from the Sony version of the Fantastic Four. I want the traditional. He's got the purple and purple and blue with the helmet with the,
Listen, it's definitely a good possibility, because if we're going to start talking about the Eternals, even put a pause on that. We've shown one or two Celestials in the Guardians, in the first Guardians.
In the first Guardian, it was it was more than that. I think they did like a flat. No, wait a minute, I'm confusing it. I think you're right. It was like two they showed.
I think maybe two, but I'm sure I saw someplace else that had another one. Mm-hmm. But at least now they've introduced the Celestials. We now make the connection to the Externals.
Yeah.
So we know of Thanos. We know that. So Galactus is a known character that it's only a matter of time before they make an appearance. Now, are they going to make an appearance, or is he going to make an appearance when it's Fantastic Four?
Right.
It's going to be Doctor Doom. So that's where that part can just go either way. We can go one way.
I got a whole theory on that. We'll talk about that another day.
But that's it. But if they can't, they won't be able to, they will not. Oh my goodness, they're right in the streets. If Marvel pull a gaseous Galactus, it's over.
No, Marvel's not like that. Marvel knows they have to bring in the actual, Galactus with the heralds and no.
So. Crazy. Okay, so
and when's that one coming out?
That one is coming out on May 5th, 2023.
Okay.
We got another 2 years on that. So that's
keep watching. We'll keep digging.
Yeah, stuff will be coming up again within time, but definitely, if that's the case, probably about a year from now is when we're going to probably start seeing some stuff. There should be at least a quarter in, or halfway done with production, I would say, about a year from now. So in that sense, by the end of this year, we should start hearing something like some stuff should be moving. You know, some people should be placed. Some action should be going down the pipeline. So
yeah, that works.
Yeah.
No problem, man. So Rod, what's your final thought on all this overall?
Listen, I'm happy. Marvel again is not it's not disappointing. Unfortunately, due to these uncertain times that we're going through, that things get pushed back and along that line. But I'm happy that they're still getting stuff done, and they're being able to put stuff back on track. So I'm happy to see. I'm happy what I'm hearing is coming down the pipeline. Let's see it like that. What I'm hearing that we're continuing with the MCU is still growing, still expanding. We're bringing in new characters. We're expanding on older ones, and we're basically now giving everyone the ability for the next hoorah of Avengers.
Yes.
In that sense. So we're building, let's say now the next Avengers team, as per how they ended off Falcon and Winter Soldier. Now might as well call it Captain America.
Yes.
And the Winter Soldier.
Yes, because that's exactly what it is.
That's exactly what it is. So the next movie, Captain America movie, is going to portray Sam Wilson as Captain America.
Yep. He's
now going to be part of that. And as it ended off with, was it Ultron? Yes, at Age of Ultron, that's saying we got a new team. Yeah, they're a little rough around the edges, but we can work with them.
Yeah.
And they start building, because they're just showing that we're building a new Avengers team.
Absolutely.
So we're in the process. Kevin Feige, they are putting in the proper works. In the words of the man they call Kevin Smith, he's doing the Lord's work. He says that. Honestly, every time he says it, he's doing the Lord's work. I'm like, preach it, Kevin, preach it. But Kevin Feige is doing what he has to do, and I'm happy that at the end of the day, we're gonna get some quality stuff coming on the pipeline. So I'm good with that.
Right on.
What's your final thought, bro?
Overall, I'm happy about it. I'm excited to see how this is going to play out and see, and it's like the big stories are great, but I want to see the subplots and see, the little, cut scenes at the end of each movie to see how that's going to tag and connect all the pieces together for the next big one. I want to see who the next big villain is for Phase 4 and who they're going to be working for, because clearly it's always leading up to some big villain. So happy. This is my seatbelt's on. I'm going to be eating right so I can live longer to make sure I watch every episode coming out. And we're going to keep this, this report kind of going on, and when we come out with new ones and just review it, but excited to see it. So as the saying goes, we know, right? Hit the notification, please like, share, subscribe. If you can help the channel grow, we would appreciate that very much. So, hey, and anyone over at Disney, if you guys are watching this at Disney Plus and you need a couple of hosts to kind of do some of your shows, hit us up. We're open. You have a lot of history. We know a lot of your history. You need some flavor on your channel. We that. So I'll put that out there. And on that note, remember, this whole world is created by a pencil, a piece of paper, and a lot of imagination. Keep on dreaming. My name is Barry 3D for the Iconist Podcast. I am here with
DJ Rod C. Yo!
Booyah! Tune in, and right now we're tuning out. Have a good night.
I'm out. I'm out this way. Ow, my foot. I'm out. Ah! I'm not fully out. I'll stay here. Bye, everybody. I'm out, people. Have a good one.
Nice.